A scaly suspect smashes a kitchen to smithereens.
It wasn't no little iguana, wasn't no little lizard.
There's an alligator in my kitchen.
The gator filled the entire floor of the kitchen.
A delinquent deer is charged with breaking and entering.
Probably seen the, reflection of whatever and thought it was his way out. His window of opportunity.
And a visit to the zoo turns into utter chaos.
Suddenly the otter just kind of comes towards us. And I just kind of brush him aside because I really don't want to get bitten by this thing.
We've brought wild animals into our world. In zoos, on farms, and as pets. We think we have them under control. But what happens when these creatures break loose and become animal fugitives? Oldsmar is a quiet coastal community in Central Florida. The evening shift has just begun at the county sheriff's office when a panicked emergency call comes in.
Sheriff's office?
This is Mrs. Frosty.
What's going on?
The caller explains there is an intruder in her home. But this isn't any old burglar. This suspect is armored and extremely dangerous.
There's an alligator in my kitchen.
How long do you think the alligator is, Miss?
It's huge.
Wanted, American alligator. Deputy Sheriff Dennis Dodson is immediately dispatched to the scene.
On a routine basis, we get calls in regards to gators or wildlife, probably anywhere from 2 to 3 times a month. Most of these gators are living out here in our creeks, our lakes.
The American alligator has been around for more than 150 million years, but was driven to the point of extinction 50 years ago. Thanks to preservation efforts, it's recovered and can be found throughout Florida's swamps.
You never usually find them in somebody's kitchen.
Deputy Dodson is dubious that the call is real. When he arrives at the scene, he's quickly convinced that the lady crying gator isn't faking.
As I got here, I could see the gator's head. It wasn't no little iguana, wasn't no little lizard. The gator filled the entire floor of the kitchen. At this time, I knew we had a problem.
Deputy Dodson informs the control center that there's an 8-foot gator lounging on the lady's linoleum. Listening to that call is news cameraman John Thomas, who rushes to the scene.
I roll up on the house here, and I find the trapper's truck parked right out front with this big cage behind it.
The trapper tells him the housebound gator could be 3 meters long.
So I'm just, I can't wait to see this thing.
John ventures inside.
And I look in, and the alligator's sitting right there, and this thing is a big, big gator. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going, this is zoo big.
The trapper is already at work, figuring how to get the colossal gator out of the kitchen.
The trapper had come into the kitchen and got a rope around the gator to control the gator.
But they better be careful. This trespasser is snappy. In tests, the American alligator was found to have a bite packed with over 900 kilograms of force. That's equivalent to being crushed by a 1-ton truck. Approaching such a dangerous creature is risky business, and the cramped kitchen is only making things worse.
It was just not happy. You could tell it was agitated because its mouth kept, opening up, and it was like hissing. So I backed off.
Which one of you gentlemen has any kind of alligator experience? Well, that's a bad sign.
The trapper decides to try a trick designed to soothe the enraged reptile.
He decides to bring a towel in and try to throw it over the top of the gator's eyes to kind of blind the gator and try to calm him down.
The trapper might look like a Spanish matador, but this is Florida, and this is one croc who isn't taking any bull.
Usually, that would calm down the gator, the trapper explained. This gator wasn't calm.
With the intruder in no mood to nap, the trapper throws in the towel. He'll need brute force to shift this rambunctious reptile.
The gator decided to show his pearly whites, letting us know that he wasn't going without a fight.
Alligators are indiscriminate eaters. This 90-kilogram monster gnawed through a screen door in search of a snack. Now the new house guest seems reluctant to leave. And it becomes clear he won't come quietly.
As the trapper's tugging at the gator, maneuvering the gator through this hallway, the gator is thrashing.
He sure is one crotchety croc.
It's beating the walls, it's moving back and forth, attempting to do its death roll as the trapper's trying to pull the gator out.
It's a tale no one will ever forget. With a few more tugs, the trapper gets the scaled escapee into the garden.
And this gator is just mad now. Getting close to the gator would have been a bad idea at that time, so everyone was keeping their distance.
All that's keeping the angry alligator in check is a thin length of rope. In a while, crocodile. The curb-crawling croc still needs to be bagged.
The trappers pulled the gator all the way down the sidewalk and wraps the rope around the concrete light pole.
The suspect might be strung up, but he's still capable of giving some lip.
The thing that I was worried about was the fact that it still didn't have its mouth shut.
Getting the gator under control requires an important move.
And the gator's mouth was taped up with duct tape at that time. So, you know, the dangerous end is no longer dangerous.
Once the gator's jaws were all taped up, the air kind of lightened, the tension was off.
You have the right to remain silent.
The trapper gets the gator ready to lift into its cage. But before he does, he takes one final step. From snout to tail, it's almost 3 meters long. Shifting the scaled suspect gives the new shooter a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
It was myself out here and 2 deputies and the woman who owned the house, and he asked, okay, who's gonna help me pick this gator up and load it into the back of the truck? And I was kind of sitting back at first, you know, just thinking, okay, my job is not to get involved. I'm supposed to just take pictures of what's going on. But no one came forward. So that little hesitation in my head, I immediately went, when am I ever going to get a chance to pick up a gator like this again? And I said, I'll do it. And I gave my camera away for someone to take pictures.
But moving the giant gator is easier said than done.
Just gonna kind of grab her right here by the wrist.
So I grabbed the front leg, I grabbed the back leg.
Look like this? Yeah, right in. Stretch them out.
I pick it up with him picking up the other side, then all of a sudden the tail whips around and hits me in the side, and it just kind of shocks me.
So you can still forecast the news with no legs and arms? Oh, yeah.
And then we just walked the gator over to the back of the truck where the cage was, and then it was like 1, 2, 3, and then we threw the gator in.
And with that, the miscreant croc is on lockdown.
Once the gator's in the cage, one of the deputies commented and remarked, there's one 1015.
One gator, 1015.
In our language, one under arrest.
See you later, alligator. This runaway reptile is under wraps. But down the road in Miami, a fleet-footed fugitive is still on the run. A 6-day pursuit has led cops to a downtown shopping mall. The elusive felon has taken to the trees.
It's a tree! Right there!
With guns trained on the canopy, cops search for a chance to take him down.
There you go! Right there!
Despite the baying crowd, this fugitive isn't coming quietly. Wanted, capuchin monkey. The unusual pet escaped from a local residence, but after a week on the lam, this cheeky chap isn't going down without a fight. In fact, he's willing to go out on a limb. And when it seems he's out of branch, he's ready to take a leap of faith. shocking. The monkey-chasing mob isn't giving up without a fight. When the trail goes cold, it seems the shifty simian has given them the slip. Not yet. A narrow wall means nothing to this marauding monkey. But as fast as he appeared, he's gone. But the wild monkey chase isn't over yet. A barking dog draws the hunting pack to a nearby auto parts shop. But a warehouse full of machinery gives countless hiding places.
Where the trail went cold.
The exhausted escapee is looking for a place to lay low.
This is exactly what he'd be looking for. He wants to hide and catch his breath.
Someone's found something. Is an arrest in the cards?
Get that door shut.
After a week at large, the high-flying fugitive is apprehended. That tail might be handy for hijinksing it around treetops, but it isn't working out so well now. The man with the tranquilizer gun lines up a shot. The howling monkey doesn't realize they have his best interests at heart. The crowd can sense a KO, but this fugitive has no intention of going in quietly. It's taken a swarm of people to catch this simian suspect. He's down, and for the time being, out. Stopping the marauding monkey gathered quite a crowd. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa, another furry felon has grabbed locals' attention. Maintenance supervisor Rick Maker is heading into work on what seems to be a normal spring day.
We are on the northeast side of town of Cedar Rapids. We got a apartment complex here, 184 units.
When he arrives at the Cambridge apartment complex, he can tell something's up.
I walked up to apartment number 7 and the window was all busted in.
Someone has broken in. Rick tries to get a better look at the damage.
I unlocked the door and kind of opened the door just enough to take a look inside.
He is blown away by what he sees.
The place was tore up, glass was all over, just a heck of a mess in there.
And the intruder is still there. This is no everyday bungling burglar. Wanted, white-tailed deer. There are around 20 million white-tailed deer living throughout the United States, and the numbers are rising. Run-ins with motorists do occur, but deer aren't known for being on the wrong side of the law. But this rogue is guilty of breaking and entering, and Rick realizes he needs backup fast.
And that's when we called the police.
But it will take more than the cops to shift this doe-eyed intruder. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa, residents are in a standoff with a 4-footed felon who's guilty of breaking and entering. In minutes, police are on the scene, but cops are more used to dealing with 2-legged suspects than derelict deer. So they enlist the help of Animal Control Officer Carrie Luskill.
When I got on the scene here, it was a little chaotic. There were police officers and individuals who were trying to help the deer find its way back to wherever it was it came from.
This is not your average house call.
It's very strange for deer to come through apartment complexes like this one here, where there's a lot of people. They try to avoid those kind of areas and situations. But this one appeared from out of nowhere and did not know what to do or how to respond, and caused a little bit of mayhem here.
Officer Luskill does know one thing. They need to act fast.
When a deer is trapped in an apartment, it doesn't have any idea how to escape. You have to provide that avenue for the deer, and I think the police department did a really good job of doing that.
The officers on the scene have come up with a plan to apprehend the hoofed hooligan. They open the front door and wait for the deer to find its way out. And suddenly, it looks like their plan has worked.
And